Yes, great nations worldwide have been built by people who had vision and by youths who are very vibrant. This is the discourse on Atayeshe TV. My name is Dr. Adeolu Olusodo. And with me today, we have a guest that's going to really help us to discuss youth and nation building. He happened to be an ex-leader of the Obafemi Awolowo University Student Union, and he became very involved in politics in his early age. I won't introduce him. I want him to introduce himself so that he can be able to tell us who he really is. Can you please tell our viewers about yourself?
Well, my name is Sotade Mayokun. Like you said, I was student union president of Bafemi Awolowo University, and at about the time that we just got into the Fourth Republic, so the need for young people to get involved in democratic leadership beckoned, considering the role we played in ensuring that we resisted the military and got democracy. In the light of that, I was appointed as one of the members of the Presidential Panel on National Security, tasked to guide Mr. President and advise Mr. President about then retired General Olusegun Obasanjo on national security. And interestingly, security from the perspective of both social security and economic security, not really arms and ammunition. And security that encapsulated, the term of reference encapsulated the resolution of disputes within ethnic nationalities in the country, the indigene settler crisis, boundary disputes, social security issues, both the remote and the immediate causes, and to advise Mr. President on what the solutions should be. And that was because the panel was created as a reaction, a global reaction to the September 11 bombing,
Okay.
which made open the eyes of nations to security beyond arms and ammunition, the need to engage the civil populace in governance.
Okay, thank you. We will go into that later, but I want us to really look at your beginning. And I won't really take you down to where you were born and stuff like that, but I want us to look at how you started, how you got involved in student unionism. Do you have any prior experience in struggle before you entered university, or it was when you were in university that you got involved, interested in student unionism, and how did you become the president of the student of Great Ife at that time, and what were the challenges that you met as student union president?
Well, fortunately, I also have a professional experience and background in management psychology. So I understand that the entirety of a human being, a man, is nature, which is birth, and nurture, which is upbringing over time. So, well, I'm a Christian by faith, and the Anglican faith to be very precise. And you would know that everybody knows the contribution of the Orthodox churches, the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the Anglican Church, the Methodist Church, to education. So I was fortunate to, by my Anglican birth and my Christian upbringing, my Catholic upbringing, because my nursery and primary school basically Catholic. I even attended St. Gregory's College.
Wow.
So at church, there was an organization that I was part of, and it is then the Young Men Christian Association that had the adult fold, the YMCA thing, and we had the ones for teenagers. It was called the Highway. I got involved with leadership at that early stage. I'm talking about 12, 13. In those days in the Anglican churches, the morals they sold to us, the import of development of a child, the way we were groomed, it's not just for academic excellence. It was aimed at developing our spirit, our soul, our mental mind, and it all circled around fairness to the next man, be your brother's keeper, ensure that you see something, you say something, ensure that you are there to protect somebody, ensure that if something was wrong, you correcting is the way we were brought up. It's more important to us than the price you have to pay. So fortunately, we also grew up in a Nigerian society where everybody was everybody's brother's keepers. Our neighbors' parents were our parents.
Yes.
We grew up in a community of love. So I've been exposed to leadership from that young age. When I was in primary school, I was librarian. I debated for the school then and went for quizzes. So leadership is a culture. I was in the choir. Leadership was a culture we built over time, and it wired us to look out for what was bad in the society and to go after it. So unionism was, the adulthood extension of our background and orientation. So when I got to the university, because all my life, in fact, I lost my childhood too early, because from like 10, 11, I started becoming a leader of an organization that had 500, 1,000 members, and I had to take decisions. So I'd lost my childhood. I stopped being a child as a child. So all my life has been looking out for people. So that became a part of me. In fact, thank God that I have a wife who is meticulous and who is family oriented. As I speak now, it's still always more about others than myself. So when I got to the university, I noticed that the leadership extension of that was the union looking out. Fortunately, we got into the university at a point in time where the struggle against military leadership and the stern opposition of young people against military rulership was hot. And so I joined the wagon because I believed we deserved democracy, we deserved democratic leadership, and some people had to pay the price.
So you have not really told us about how you became president of Ife, because I'm interested in that particular aspect because I want to ask questions on that. But from what you have said, you've narrated how from even before teenage years, how you have been entrusted with leadership and stuff like that. Will it be that one of the problems we are having now is that we seem to overprotect our youth, our children, that now it's very difficult for them to step into the gap when issues like require students to take good actions. Is that the overprotection we are giving to our children now that is making that to show up?
Well, before answering the question, it may be instructive for me to quickly answer the first question that it seemed like I escaped.
Okay.
When I got into Ife, considering my background, looking out for people, I realized that in part one alone, we spent more than 15 months. And each time we had a break and a strike, it was always the name of one student union leader, Dr. Tony Fashayo, that they were always shouting. So, I was curious. I had to ask one of the senior students that, what is happening? And he said those were politically victimized students. And he was expelled, and the struggle is to reinstate him. You know, that spirit in me that has always been the go out there, watch out, look out for people. I just, on the spot, I just said, well, I'm interested in ensuring this guy gets back to school, and I will do my best. So I decided for that reason to be into unionism, to join the train against military rule, and to join the train of young people like me and a bit older people who are determined to ensure that Anthony Fashayo and the remaining student union leaders expelled from Ife around the country which were politically victimized, were reinstated back to school. So that's why I joined unionism. And in part one, I contested for the chairman of my hall.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, I lost by a whiskers because, I mean, the Stalites, as they would call them, the students that were in school beat us to it. And I didn't stop until I contested at part 4 for playing a president, and I won.
Okay. So let me go back before we go on a short break. We'll be back. I want to ask this question because one of the things that we have seen in student unionism today is the involvement of politicians in who now emerge as student union leaders. Was that your experience when you contested for the student union president at Ife?
Well, like I said, I contested at the birth of the Fourth Republic. So naturally, it was not. It couldn't have been. Because involvement in unionism there was very costly. We were consistently harassed by the police, locked in cells, released. So, and there was no money involved. All our leaders like Ganifa Emi, Oba Yuana, even this Falana now, people we knew as our leaders, the DECO groups, the social-political groups, social-cultural groups, they struggled, they endured the struggle for a genuine love for the liberation of the Nigerian society from the military to a democratic leadership.
So at that time, there was no involvement of politicians
At
as
all.
we see now, because it's now usual for you to see a student union president now with a convoy.
There couldn't have
been
even been there, because as at that time, it was like a capital offense to see an activist to romance or have any interaction with anybody in government.
Yes.
They will say it's a government agent.
Of course, and students will revolt. They will not support such a person.
There was a perpetual opposition between unionists and government, that mentality we inherited from our face-off with the military. We brought into the civil space. And don't forget, in 1998-99, although some of us thought that whether it was going to work or not, we should get involved in democratic rule. But you see, the activists, we didn't believe that it was true democracy. After all, it's a former general that became the president. And that was predominantly the situation. It was either the military people or their stooges within the civil. So, I mean, but unfortunately, democracy has survived till today. And that's why you will see that the baby of destiny, which is the freedom of Nigeria, democracy, is now midwifed by a witch mother, corruption.
Okay, we will come to that later, because it seems to have been even the problem now in the student union movement, and even the labor union also, it seems to be also fighting that same issue. So we'll come back after the break and we'll look at your assessment of current situation. Welcome back to the Discourse on Atayeshe TV. I still have with us our guest today, Sotade Mayokun. And in the first part, we looked at his involvement in student unionism and how he became the president of the student union of the great Obafemi Awolowo University. That's not the way they say it. Great Ife.
Obawo University.
Great Ife. Yes. So that's good. So now we want to really now go into the current situation of the country now. Firstly, what is your assessment of student unions in the issues in the country now, and the response that is expected from vibrant youth organizations like the Student Union, National Association of Nigerian Students, or the National Association of which other one? NUNS, National Union of Nigerian Students?
Well, if one looks at it from the pedestrian or critical angle, I mean, with the view to trying to lay the blame on something or someone, it is easy to tell the obvious, which is a complete capitulation of the union into the government of the day. But you should also understand that every organization in any society and their government is a making and a reflection of who the people really are. Corruption has become a commonplace and in our society, and our politicians have become traders who trade in the commonwealth of people, who trade with the lives of people and the economic and financial muscle of the nation. So naturally, that is the order of the day. Our student union now is a reflection of what the government is, and is a reflection of what the society is. In those days, for example, look at how successful, how freely can you operate, how successfully in the days we were growing up as a Yahoo boy.
Very difficult.
A 17, 19-year-old boy, 20-year-old boy now buying cars for the parents, riding cars of 70, 80 million, building houses of 300 million, building for the parents, and they are not asking where did you get it from. Because generally poverty has been completely weaponized.
Yes.
It's a shame that now under democratic rule, the weaponization of poverty is worse than we ever had during the military.
Okay, can we just say that, okay, we can't blame the Nigerian students, it's just a reflection of the society. That's the way, what
honestly, that's what I'm saying.
So if nothing is done to help the society, then we are not going to see any vibrant student.
It will get worse as we speak now. And the trend had begun from like the transition between Obasanjo's first term to second term, and I'm talking about from 2003, 2004 NANS. It had become difficult to become a NANS president without money. I mean, a radical aberration and opposite of what it was. You could not buy anybody's votes or conscience then.
No, of course, I was at the NANS convention in Maiduguri that produced Red Drum as NANS president. We know definitely there was not.
Can you compare like that to
changing hands?
The NANS from Femi Oshabinu down now. It's unfortunate. It has become a situation where, to start with, NANS officials, we have had NANS officials, NANS presidents, NANS national officials who are not even registered students in any university. Now NANS is no longer operating in the schools as it used to be, because in our days you find a group of students from other universities in your campus and you ask what's happening. They say they are doing NANS Senate meeting, or they are doing a NANS meeting. The NANS president and presidents from other schools is around. It's no longer like that. NANS from like 2003-04 had completely gone out of the campuses. So the touch of ideological conviction, the touch of social clarity, ideological clarity of the university has been stifled from NANS and has been squeezed out. So NANS operates now as a political entity. You find NANS begin to support government now.
Yes, of
you
course,
find NANS now giving award to government officials. You find NANS now giving award to market women, to even touts.
It's of course obviously now. If NANS is in that state, then there is no hope of us seeing a better political climate.
And it's the same thing with labor union.
Of course, definitely, there's no doubt about that.
You will sit down now. I don't even watch interviews again. I'm even very discouraged to watch Nigerian news, because you will sit down and you will see supposed champions of freedom of Nigerians, the labor union leaders, the NANS leaders, speaking directly like public, and I mean financially, professionally engaged public relations officer for government,
which is not supposed to be.
It's a shame. Even picking up fights, and corruption has divided every union. Trade union has been divided, NLC has been divided, TUC has been divided, NANS has been divided.
You have National Union of Nigerian Student Nuns, another
divided. Nigerian Youth Parliament divided. Nigerian Youth Council of Nigeria divided. Now it is a member of the reigning political party, or the political party in power, that now becomes the president of NANS. Now it's even, in fact, the technical sponsor and patron, financier of NANS, even since the inception of this administration, is Sheyi Tinubu. In the administrations before, they were designated members of the government, or ambassadors from government, or representatives from government, who determined who the NANS president become, or who determines who became the president of all the unions
And now to become a NANS president, to become a Labour leader now is as expensive as becoming chairman of local government.
Imagine.
Now NANS will spend up to 200 million, 150 million, large
Delegates
delegates
from universities and hotels.
into hotels, paying them as much as 200,000 each, paying them as much as 100,000 each. I mean, it's so, just a radical departure from the past.
So now, what is the hope for this country, and which organization or which youth movement will rise up to play the role of NANS or play the role of pro-democratic organizations that we used to be part of, that was filled up with youths who want a better country?
Well, there are two angles to answering your question. One, I always avoid this question because if one has to be honest about the question of hope, it will be easy to submit that as things get worse, and it is getting worse, the condition becomes worse. It's like there is no hope. It's like there is no hope. Because, I mean, what are you saying is going to happen? Are you saying by the next NANS president now, the government will not determine who comes? The SSS, the Nigerian police, is asking, in fact, they are like the INEC of NANS elections.
When it was an aberration for us to see an SSS official on campus.
To even see you speaking publicly with a public officer, government functionary, was a sacrilege. But now, it is compulsive and compulsory that you have one or two ministers behind you. In fact, the factions now in NANS and all this organization is financed by ministers from different ministries. So you see these factions supported by the CBN governor and the Ministry of Youth, and that one, there's a minister of interior or somebody supporting it. Has become that bad. But you see, here again is the hope I see. The hope I see is that there is a tribe of young people now, although ideologically not informed and do not seem to ideologically have the readiness to learn, the Gen Zs. I see a new breed of young people who are more daring to stand up against bad governance, stand up against police oppression, stand up against ills in the society. That is the hope we've got. Now there's a new tribe of young people who can now set an agenda to have a national protest, and it will happen. I just hope that a few of the ideologues who are still around should reach out to them and guide them, be part of them. The tenacity for their conviction for a better Nigeria, I encourage them to continue. Young people should organize themselves from community to community, society to society, state to state, even on the online platform, get themselves together into a critical mass, push the agenda of the possibility of a better Nigeria. Now translate this to votes in a next election to vote out these demons, these vampires.
So we have now witnessed the shift of betting a better nation, that the vehicle that is normally used to transform society, transit from one point to another, has now left the campuses now, and we hope to see it coming out and germinating within the communities, no longer from the university campuses.
Obviously, and apparently this obvious fact is because the online space is a new space globally. Things are happening there. It's a new world. Is a parallel world from the physical world. Things are happening there. Businesses are growing there. Ideas are blowing into success there. People are picking inspiration to become great people. It has affected industries, the entertainment industry, that's the music industry. We have skits all over right now. It's affecting the movie industry. It's affecting even governance. Now, somehow, our public officers are now held more accountable than they used to be. So it is more difficult by the day to become a thief and to get away with crime. So it's better. And it's a platform these guys have organized. So I encourage them to stay there, keep the flag flying, reach out to people of older generations, because when a society is stratified into generations, the only reality about making any change is to ensure that every generational stratification is represented in a decision-making process. So intergenerational interaction and networking is what we need. The wisdom of the elderly and the energy and the technology capacity of the younger people to drive a formidable front against the orcs in power.
Thank you. Before we leave, I just want you to, because sometimes people may not know what is really happening. They just think they know and they may not know. Do you have any insight for the Nigerian youth about this present government that will help them to take the bull by the horn? Do you have any insight? Probably what they are not seeing that is really happening, and they are not seeing, just feel okay, it's maybe normal thing or something that you want to show them so that it will help them in taking their decision.
Well, honestly, you caught me under the belt because there's really nothing to say. Unfortunately, with successive governments in place coming into power, the culture of engaging people in governance has reduced.
Yes.
So there's really no advice you can offer young people as to how to work with government, because the readiness of the young people, suppose they are ready to work with government, must be matched by the sincerity of government to institute strategies, policies, and machineries to ensure that they stretch an olive branch and to ensure that there is a rendezvous to meet up with these young people. But it doesn't seem like there is any. If you say politics, for example, when everybody was shouting labor, 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 I was laughing because I just saw that to take leadership where the young people who can actually vote them out don't really go to the polls to vote. So it will be a lot of noise, like William Shakespeare would say, sounds and fury, but full of nothing. A lot of noise calling them out, but zero action trying to vote them out.
So one final word for the Nigerian youth, what do you think that they need to do?
Like I've said, first, understand that Nigeria is our nation. And this is the only opportunity, this is the country that is our opportunity and our heritage to develop. And this is where our children will grow. Love Nigeria. Reach out to other colleagues who believe in Nigeria. Rendezvous, discuss statecraft. Another thing I need you guys to know is that it's not sufficient to criticize the policies of government. We have to shift upscale to a mode where we can take the policies of government one by one, do research. We are too blessed with very brilliant young people. Do research, evidence-based criticism. Let's do research, let's consult wide to create alternative for any sector that is failing. We bring it forward so that going forward, when we are criticizing government, we are not criticizing them based on passion or criticizing them and making a list. We are criticizing them to say judiciary is a failure. This is the model of judiciary that can sustain the kind of growth and development we aspire and we desire for Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Sotade Mayokun. We have all listened to you, we have heard, and what I will only say is that this country belongs to all of us, and we cannot fold our arms when we are supposed to roll our sleeves and to be involved in making this country a better place. This is the Discourse on Attaché TV. Our guest, Sotade Mayokun, has spoken a lot about the youth. It is time for the youth to rise and help this country to become a better place. You are welcome, and we hope to see you another time. So everyone, enjoy your day. Bye.